Hey everyone, Dan from Telestats here, doing a semi-final post-mortem, looking at the stats on Telestats, picking out things that I think are interesting, giving out tips on how to use the website and how to read the stats, and just looking over the semi-finals and seeing what we can take from them. If you don't bet on Eurovision, this probably isn't going to interest you, and if you don't know what Telestats is, then you're probably not going to have a clue what I'm talking about. If you are using Telestats for your Eurovision betting, first of all, I just want to say thank you for using the site. A lot of you have been using the website. The hits have been absolutely astronomical. I'm shocked that the website hasn't died mid-show, but what can I say? I'm not complaining. It's all worked out really well. For those of you that are perhaps using Telestats for the very first time this year, I want you to bear something in mind when you're using Telestats, and that is that all the stats here, all the rankings that you see, are representative only of the televote. We really have no visibility of the jury votes. Now, jury votes tend to align with public votes just because, what the public likes, generally the juries will like to. And the reason that we remember those instances where the juries have got it completely different to the public vote is because they are quite rare. So most of the time, the rankings that you see on Telestats are going to be fairly good representations of where these contestants have placed in the Eurovision rankings. At least that's my opinion. So far, I couldn't really be happier with the results that Telestats have brought in. With looking at the Twitter stats, we got 9 out of 10 for both semis. On the YouTube stats, we got 8 out of 10 for both semis. The app stats have been useful. The live Twitter live stats have been useful in their way as well. And even the rehearsal videos, the rehearsal YouTube videos, obviously there's a video for rehearsal 1 and rehearsal 2 for both semis. The average is 7.5 for both semis, which is actually better than my video prediction. So even just looking at the stats, like these are the top 10 YouTube views, has done better than me having a go at actually making a prediction. So overall, really, really pleased with how Telestats is doing right now. I'm really hoping that it will continue through to the grand final, and then you guys can use it and make loads of money. With regards to my prediction videos, my first semi-final prediction, I was a little bit too bold, saying that Sweden wouldn't qualify. I kind of knew they would. Romania, I had a bit of faith in them. I shouldn't have had faith in them. Israel and Azerbaijan, I think, had their best performances that they've ever done so far. I thought they were actually good. And what else? Ireland, I just threw that in there. That was one hell of a long shot. So yeah, I was a bit too bold with semi 1. Semi 2, I got 9 out of 10 correct. Only Moldova was wrong, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute because I have my suspicions about what might have gone on there. Let's take a look at the website. Starting with the Twitter stats, just for semi-final 1, straight away you can see that 5 of the 6 eliminated contestants were at the bottom. That's really, really good. And then we have this weird outlier here in Croatia, and I'm going to focus on Croatia just for now. What this suggests is that Croatia may have been really, really, really penalised here by the juries. The televote, it probably got through. But let's look at a few other stats just to see what we can make of this. So Croatia there, sort of mid-table in the televote, let's say. Okay, now YouTube views, semi-final 1, Croatia 5th from the top in views. Seems to support what we're saying. Now, this is the MyEurovision app. What we can see here is at the beginning of the semi-final, what people do is they reset their rankings. So they have a ranking already, and then they reset it and they go, I'm going to watch all the performances and make a new ranking. So you can see they all go down, and then when the lines open, suddenly everyone makes a ranking again. Let's have a look at this. Now, from the bottom, Romania out, Slovenia out, Australia out, North Macedonia out. And now we've got Belgium, Sweden, Norway, Israel, and Croatia. What was here? Belgium, Israel, Sweden, Norway. So the same 4 again as here. You're Croatia all the way up here. So this makes me really think that the juries really did a number on Croatia. I also noticed this Facebook post. This was posted at the end of the Eurovision show. Now, if I do a search for the word Croatia, out of 50 comments, 26 mentioned the word Croatia. Look, you can see them all highlighted here in yellow. So this, I think, really, really suggests to me that Croatia have had their grand final dreams dashed by the jury specifically. I'm going to be very, very interested to see what the televote looks like for Croatia and what the jury score looks like for Croatia. So that's why Croatia didn't qualify. They probably deserved to based on the public vote. but we'll have to see what the results are when they come through. All right, let's talk about what people really want to know here. It was a kind of a three-way fight between Ukraine, Malta and Cyprus. Now, I think most people have now conceded that Cyprus is probably out of the running in terms of the overall win, the outright win and the semi-win. Most people are debating who won of the semi. Was it Ukraine or Malta? We're going to have a look at the stats and see what we can make of these. Looking at the Twitter stats here, we've got Ukraine on 1877, we've got Malta on 1862. There's only 15 likes between them, so as far as I'm concerned, that's neck and neck. Ukraine had definitely overperformed, exceeded expectations for sure. They had a great performance. Looking at the YouTube views, now this is more interesting. This is worse for Malta. Malta's all the way down here, 6th from the top. Ukraine right at the top with a great score, way ahead of even Russia in second place. So advantage Ukraine there, I'd say. Now let's look at the MyEurovisionScoreboard app. I'm going to hide everything except Malta and the Ukraine, just so it's easy to see. Now you can tell that prior to the show, Malta had been given points by the majority of people in their rankings, which is why Malta fell the most. Here is where the lines opened. Now Malta was at minus 739, and by the end of the show it was at plus 3,300. So we can say that Malta received about 4,000 points here. Conversely, Ukraine had about minus 100 and ended the night on plus 3,100. So you could say that Ukraine got about 3,200 points. So on the app, Malta did better than Ukraine. Onto Twitter Live now. Now you may be tempted to think that Cyprus has overperformed here. It's got more mentions than the Ukraine. It's in second place, but check out the sentiment analysis here. We've got to win just 62. Very, very low compared to the other two here. Positive, again, lower than Malta and Ukraine. Sentiment, lower than Malta and Ukraine. What this suggests, unfortunately, for Cyprus is that people were talking about Cyprus, but they weren't talking about it in a positive way. They were talking about perhaps how disappointed they were in the performance. That's why it's got all those mentions. So mentions aren't always a good thing. Looking at the Ukraine and Malta, though, 4,100 mentions to 3,800 mentions. The to-win stats are very similar. Positive is advantage Malta, and then sentiment advantage Malta. It's a very, very difficult one to call, to be honest, because there are mixed messages in this entire, in all the stats. Let's have a look at the sentiment. I'm always a big fan of sentiment. So here, I mean, the reaction to Malta's performance was massive compared to everyone else. Ukraine, I think, is down here. I mean, it still came second overall, but I mean, this is a massive lead in sentiment from Malta. Looking at the gender split, again, Ukraine and Malta, I mean, it looks like Ukraine hasn't done very well in sentiment compared to mentions. So, for example, if you look at female mentions for Malta, it's 1,400. If you look at female sentiment, it's 1,500. If you look at male mentions for Malta, it's 1,600. And if you look at male sentiment for Malta, it's 1,700. So these two align quite well. This is always quite a good measure. But then you see that for Ukraine, the mentions don't seem to tally with the sentiment. You've got 1,300 female mentions, but you've only got 1,000 female sentiment. You've got 1,400 male mentions, but you've only got 1,000 male sentiment. So there is a disparity here, which I think gives Malta the advantage. But this is not to say, by the way, that any concrete conclusion can be formed. The Ukraine definitely did better than most people expected. My personal belief is that the Ukraine and Malta had very, very similar televote scores, to be honest with you, very similar. Maybe Ukraine did win the televote. However, my personal feeling is that Malta still would have done better with the juries, and the difference in Malta and the Ukraine, the televote would have been very small, but the difference between Malta and the Ukraine in the jury vote, I think, would have been much larger. And I think Malta probably won the first semi-final. I'm not sure, but Ukraine could well have won the televote by a small margin. That's my opinion based on what I'm seeing. It could be wrong. Who knows? Moving on to the second semi-final now. Let's talk about Moldova. You know, in the first semi-final, I said that Croatia had been really screwed over by the juries. Moldova is the opposite. It's been given a very, very suspicious amount of love by the jury. So straight away we can see here, these are the Twitter likes. Moldova all the way down here. You're surrounded by other countries that have been eliminated. It's only got 297 likes, and the next one up that got through to the grand final got 565, almost double. That's very suspicious. Taking a look at the YouTube stats, look at that, Moldova once again, the country with the lowest number of views that actually managed to get through. The app stats, check it out. You've got Czech Republic out, Latvia out, Poland out, Georgia out, Moldova in, Estonia out, Austria out. Once again, Moldova right in the middle of countries that were eliminated. Very, very suspicious. And even on the Twitter live, we've got, I'll get rid of that. It's right here at the bottom on, is it sentiment that I've clicked on? Yep, sentiment. Lowest sentiment. Lowest positive. It's just, it's very, very suspicious to me. Moldova, well, let's just say that there are suspicions about how they may have done this and how much money was involved. But I've been working on this website now for 5 years, and I look at it more than anyone, and I understand the stats pretty well. And this is an example of something that's very, very suspicious to me. This Telestats does sometimes get it wrong, of course, but this is a little bit, for me, outside the range of what it normally gets wrong. This suggests that something dodgy has happened, and Moldova has been given special treatment. I don't think that Moldova should have got through, and it was the only country that I didn't get in my prediction as well, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, I think Moldova will do really, really badly with the televote. I think when we see the results, Moldova will definitely be outside the top 10. I'm going to be super interested to see how many points the juries gave it. The other thing to bear in mind is when you think of Moldova's song Sugar, do you really think Jury Magnet? Is this really the kind of song that juries are drawn to? No. Let's have a look at the gender split as well. Where's Moldova? Wow, okay. So if we use the example of mentions versus sentiment, Moldova, female mentions 619, female sentiment 280, male mentions 918, male sentiment 347. Way underperformed. People just didn't like it. There's literally every single stat that I've seen suggests that Moldova did something dirty here, because this is not a jury song. Okay, so a quick note on Greece. I mean, if you watched my previous semi-final prediction video, I had Greece qualifying, but I had really, really high hopes for it. And I wasn't alone in that. The OGAE poll had Greece winning their semi-final and coming third in the final. So I wasn't completely off track here, but clearly on the night, it didn't impress people. When I watched it, I thought it was great. I thought it was a fantastic performance, but I was definitely in the minority here. Greece, mid-table, 656 likes. Nope. Now, they did quite well on the YouTube views, but when it comes to Greece, you really can just ignore the YouTube views, I think, because they're always inflated. MyEurovision app, where did Greece finish? Yep, again, right in the middle. And on the Twitter live, fairly middle score. What about sentiment? Let's have a look. Yeah, so nothing really too special on the sentiment either. Where are they down there? Yeah, mid-table. So my prediction of Greece top 10 is out the window as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, they just didn't connect with people. Something just didn't feel right for the audience, and Greece is out of the running for a very good position, I think. Now, Bulgaria had a nightmare on the semi-final. Her vocals were all over the place, but I said it from the beginning, Bulgaria is a false favourite. People really don't seem to like these whisper singing songs. I mean, partly because of a bad performance on the night. She got even worse likes than Greece, actually, so that's really not good. How does she do on YouTube views? Oh my god, way down there. App stats, let's see how she did. Where is she? Bulgaria. You would hope that she might have done a bit better here because of, yeah, okay. So Bulgaria, I mean, still like 5th or 6th from the top, actually. Even that's not great. Bear in mind, we're talking about a country that has been often touted as a front runner, potential winner, but not by me. Live tweets, let's have a look. Bulgaria again, mid-table. It's in that Greece range, to be honest with you. Where did they perform? I forgot. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, so you even have Portugal was another story, but look, Bulgaria just really not making a mark in the semi-final there. I'm waiting for people to snap out of this daydream with Bulgaria, to be honest with you. It just isn't a very good song. Oh, well, actually, that's a lie. It is a good song. It's just quite slow. And I just don't think it's right for Eurovision. I think Bulgaria is more out of contention than I even thought it was before. She may well do a better performance in the grand final, but yeah, I think she's cooked. Now let's talk about Iceland and Switzerland. They were kind of the two front runners if you take away Bulgaria, really. Look at Switzerland's Twitter stats, really low. Again, maybe it just didn't connect with people. I'm not sure what happened there. I was actually expecting better. Iceland way out in the lead. You wouldn't have even known that they weren't performing live, to be honest with you. Really good performance. Could well have won the televote, Iceland, to be honest with you. Looking at YouTube views, Iceland a little bit further back. In fact, Switzerland ahead of it. Not that much ahead of it, but we'll call it evens. Maybe advantage Switzerland here. Now the Eurovision app, let's have a look. Where is Iceland? Where is Iceland? Did I pass it? Maybe I did. Oh no, Iceland, second place, and then Switzerland, first place. But you can see that Switzerland came from minus 761. So maybe actually, yeah, maybe Switzerland did win. I think it's going to be really close. I don't know. I mean, I did say that Iceland could be one of those acts where people just didn't really get it. And now that it isn't being performed live, maybe there are some people that have just kind of switched off. Switzerland for me always was good, as I said in my Switzerland video, but I never had it as the winner. So let's have a look at Twitter Live. Again, Iceland absolutely smashed it. I mean, those to-win stats right there is ridiculous. I think it's the highest of all the acts that performed. When you look at Switzerland's mentions, 5,000 to Iceland's 3,500, and yet Switzerland has so few to-win tweets, so few positive tweets compared to Iceland, it suggests that, just like Cyprus in my previous example, people talked about it, but not necessarily in a positive way. We can actually confirm that. Let's have a look at unique tweets. But yeah, we've got Switzerland here, and the number of positive sentiment tweets, 1,070. And Iceland, yeah, much fewer mentions, but positive tweet 1,400. So yeah, there's a very good chance here that Iceland took the televote. There's a very good chance that Switzerland took the televote in other stats. I'm not sure what to think. Having seen some other stats, I'm tempted still to side with Switzerland as the televote winner, but I really don't think there's much in it. However, I think Switzerland is more of a draw for the juries than Iceland. So yeah, if I had to plant my flag in one of these, I would say that Switzerland won the televote here, and Switzerland could well have won the semi. Just as like another alternative point, this is the app stats, the MyEurovisionScoreboard app stats for the grand final. Now there isn't too much data in just yet, but if we look at the overall, let's see, like Italy at the top, Malta second, Switzerland now. So Switzerland third there, so they're actually very close to the top scorers here. So, you know, maybe they are winning. Maybe I'm underestimating them completely. Let's try and find Iceland though. That's Cyprus, that's Ukraine, that's Russia, Bulgaria, Iceland, even below Bulgaria. So who knows? Maybe people like the semi-final performance a lot and they talked about it a lot, but when it comes to the final and who they actually want to win, maybe Iceland isn't people's first choice. They enjoyed the performance, but they don't actually want Iceland to win, because that's what this is suggesting anyway. Anyway, so that was just me going through telestats, picking out important things. I will do a preview of how I think the grand final will go. Hopefully you're not more confused now than you were before you started watching this video, but I wouldn't blame you if you are. The great thing about telestats is that even though the stats are the same on screen, no two people read them the same. There's always some subjectivity when you're looking at them. So I really want to know what you think. I have my opinions. I haven't made them public yet, at least on video. So let me know what you think. Please hit that subscribe button. Please like the video. Please share it on Twitter. Please share it on Facebook. Do all those things. You know, liquidity in specials, knowledge about specials is always going to benefit all of us. So please do that. That would be really appreciated. I will see you very shortly for my preview on the grand final. And I'll see you then. Cheers.